And welcome to the Geeks 31 Days of Horror for Halloween. This is Lil.
And this is Steve.
And tonight we're reviewing The People Under the Stairs from 1991. For some odd reason, I kept saying this came out in 88. I don't know why it felt like a late 80s movie instead of an early 90s movie.
That 4 year, the 2 last years of the 80s and the 2 first years of the 90s, everything gets wishy-washy in there.
I know. It was like, because I saw Ving Rhames and I'm like, oh. So The People Under the Stairs, when Fool breaks into the home of his family's landlord, he discovers that they have mutilated several boys and kept them in prison under the stairs. Directed and written by Wes Craven, starring, which you would think it would be a lot better, but talk about that. Starring Brandon Quinton Adams, Everett McGill, Wendy Roby, AJ Langer, Ving Rhames, Sean Whalen, Bill Cobbs, Kelly Jo Minter, and others. So, People Under the Stairs. Steve, I'm actually shocked you brought this up. You're like, hey, have we done People Under the Stairs? And I'm like, no. What better reason I haven't brought it up? So.
Well, the reason I brought it up was because I actually like this movie. Obviously, some of the language is questionable, but those lines are all delivered by people that are the bad people, right? This movie's not praising those people; they are the depraved bad people. Either way, this kid, like, I was infatuated with him when I was a little kid. Like, he's in everything. He's in The Sandlot. He's in Mighty Ducks. He's in this movie. He's all over the place. Then he disappears for 20 years, but like, he captured my imagination. I was like, dang, he's in a scary movie. Like, this is crazy.
Is he back? Is he doing stuff now?
He's started doing some stuff on TV and stuff like that since like the last couple of years, but low. But he took a lot of family time off, so you can't fault the guy for that. And plus, he made a shit ton of money off all the royalties and all that crap. He was in all 3 of them Mighty Ducks movies.
Yeah, I remember him in I don't know if you've ever had the Smooth Criminal, the Michael Jackson Moonwalker VHS and stuff.
I have it on the shelf.
Well, I'm glad you do, because it's a fantastic VHS. And in the extended copy of, I want to say it's Bad, that he does as the kids come out and do things. Like, the kids come out and like do the opening as from Bad. He plays Michael Jackson. Yeah, he plays Michael Jackson's as a kid, and then they grow up.
So, he's just one of those kid actors that I followed when I was a kid. And so I saw him in this, and I just immediately fell in. You know what I mean? I was just on the ride with this kid. And I had that nostalgic love for it. That's all, and I can see that but I still found a lot of stuff to like about it. I thought it was just kind of off the wall and crazy. It's like one of those movies that doesn't get made anymore with the cheesy looks at the camera, it was just all over the place. But what they were able to do with the set and the house was awesome. Like, it was a lot of fun. I had fun with it. The problem with this movie is it's too fucking long. God damn, it's long. It kept, because it's on Tubi. Every time a commercial came back, I'm like, fuck, there's so much movie left.
They're like, how are we at 40 minutes left? Like, this should have been ending. Like, this should be the end wrap up.
The kid has been dead to rights for like 4 different times, and we still have an hour left of the movie. Like, I don't know what's going on. So,
spoilers.
But needless to say, I give this movie a hero, but that's just nostalgic. I look past the problems for this one. This is one of those personal ones for me. It's like a guilty pleasure, if you would. Like, I know it's not like a great movie, but I still like it. So, hero for me, but that's just a purely nostalgic rating.
So for me, it's a sidekick. Even back when it came out, I remember seeing this movie on VHS. Especially because at this point, I was 12, 13 probably when it came out on VHS. So I was already a big horror movie fanatic. Wes Craven, thought, especially because of Nightmare and everything, like, I loved Wes Craven. But looking back at Wes Craven, especially at that moment in time, not as, because I love Shocker. God, that I love Shocker, and that movie is not good.
We haven't done that. That's what I'm
I know.
saying, though.
It's
But, like,
another Wes Craven movie.
it's
I
not
know.
good, but, like, I still it's like one of those ones where it hit I watched it at the right time. I was the
Right.
right age, I watched it in the right
This for
setting, it was great,
you.
so
This for you at your age when you're watching it makes a lot of sense. For me at this point, I've seen so much, and that was the thing for me. Like I didn't identify with the kid because I was already older, and there it wasn't scary enough. Like there
I
was not
watched
enough
this
blood
the
and gore.
year after it came out,
Yeah.
and I would have been the same age as this kid in the movie when I watched it,
Which
so
which is again, it's just like me watching Goonies being almost the same age as them,
Yep.
going through that. You know what I mean? Stand By Me, all those movies at that point when especially when you identify. But to me, it's a sidekick.
Yeah, I can see it.
I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it more this time around than I had like the last time I remember seeing it. I mean, I had it on VHS, all that stuff back in the day.
I love that
Um,
character, Roach, man. Roach rules.
he has his tongue cut off. Um, it did bother me watching it this time around that his name was Fool. I was like, what?
I know, I didn't well,
I was
it's
like,
like a nickname that his
I
sister
know,
gave
but
him,
it's
she's into
like
tarot, but,
everybody
like,
calls him Fool. Yeah, I was like, that's weird. But
I don't know, I liked it. I like the end when the whole fucking like a whole parade shows up and it's just like and like crazy shit just starts happening. The police are out there, people start falling through the ceiling, explosions. It's just like this is
yeah,
fucking awesome.
this is like a horror rendition of Goonies. I go back to Goonies again because I'm watching this and it's like I get the Goonies feel, right? Like this kid is supposedly in peril, but never really in peril, right? Like he's more in peril than the Goonies kids were with was it the
There's literally a man
Freddy's,
shooting him and a man eating flesh eating dog
right?
chasing him down.
But every time they get close, he wiggles his way out. Some
He
kind of,
does.
you
I
know what
know.
I mean?
At
Like
one point, he actually punches the dog, and the dog's like, "Oh!"
yeah,
Like, the dog. Like that's the other thing too. The movie's funny. The movie's like straight up funny. There was a blooper, a gag, and they left it in the movie because it was hilarious and it works every time.
which one was it?
It's when the main bad guy, the brother, the dad,
Yeah.
whatever, he's in all that S&M gear at the end, and Fool hits him with that fire poker, blam, and it breaks over the top of him, and like he stands up and looks around at the crew, like, oh shit, and then just drops the fucking handle, and they kept it in because it's like it was just perfect. And the movie's full of stuff like that, like goofy looks. Like the villains are so over the top. I don't even know what their thing is. They
Well,
want
right.
money.
They have an entire like safe, not even a safe, some
A
room
room.
filled with money and gold vintage coins and all these crazy things.
But
And
you can't pay bills with that.
well, they had cash. You could pay bills
I
with
mean, you
cash.
could pay bills
You
with
know.
cash, but then you got to drive to the fucking place. Who's doing that?
Well, they're buying up all the places. You know what I mean?
True.
Like they're buying everything up, and that's what like it was weird to me. Like watching this, it was like the plot. Like, why are they buying up all these areas? Why are they buying it? They didn't really go into that. They didn't really explain a lot of it. They were just buying it and going through that. So it was very interesting. So, but you know, I don't think we're gonna go beat for beat on this movie. I think it's really hard to because not a lot happens in the beginning. We get two characters die. Well, not in the beginning, and then we have nothing else really happening. Like not having, but it's just a chase movie through this house, and this house is so gigantic, and in between the walls there are it's hallways.
There's like a whole runway through all the holes of the house.
Yeah, so you know, it's weird because I'd say that this is definitely another like entry level horror film. Like there is some gruesome stuff happening here, and like kids won't understand a lot
I
of
saw
some of
it was
the undertones, right?
yeah.
That with especially with this brother sister duo that's acting like a mom and dad, and they won't understand some of the things, but it's still a good like entry level horror because, like you said, like at that age. There it's not over the top. Yes, there's some body. You get the scene where he throws Ving Rhames in that pit. Gross. Mia almost vomited. She saw that.
There's some gross stuff in here, man.
She walked in at that scene and saw like Ving Rhames' like torso all opened up, and she just went nah. She's like bent over. I don't know what happened to her. She does not like gore. It's very disappointing to me. But it's interesting. But again, I go back to Goonies because again, like he finds the treasure. And then the treasure blows up, and the entire neighborhood gets some of this treasure because money's flying out of the chimney and coins are everywhere. And everybody's just sitting there dancing in the streets, catching all the money. And like, yeah, it's like the whole town is saved by the treasure, you know.
But the kid, well, not only the treasure, but the evil landlords that were
Are
kicking
dead.
everybody out are dead now. So I guess that solves the problem. It's not like all those properties just revert back to the state or their other fucked up family members and everybody's tied up in litigation for decades. You know, nothing like that's going to happen. No. Everything's just, we're going to drive your mom to get her operation. What? What are you talking about?
There's some bizarre scenes when his grandpa and mom show up at the door, and it's like, do you know he's in there? Like, do you understand what's happening?
Yeah,
and like
if you don't, this is a very big coincidence.
And that, do you realize that he has a shotgun pointed at your son's face right now?
Right now, yeah. Oof.
So,
but I like, again, the kid is the one that saves the day, though. Like he's the one that has the wires together. He's got the bomb set up. All this stuff is he's the one, and he goes back. Like it's
that's what I was about
the kid's story.
That's what I loved, is that he didn't leave the girl. So there's also like this teenage girl who's locked in the house, and you know, we find out that, you know, once we find out that this is a brother and sister, we're like, well, this is not their kid. They must have kidnapped her at a young age and are raising her in this weird family dynamic. And he goes back.
Yeah,
he's out free. He had a pocket full of these gold coins. The guy's like, you got the rent paid. That's the thing I'm thinking. You got the rent paid for the next 30 years. And I'm like, why do you care about paying the rent? Go buy a house somewhere else.
Like, yeah, get out of this place. And you know, rent prices are going to go up. Are you including inflation or?
But again, like you said, it's like everything's just going to be wrapped up real quick. But he goes back, you know, and he does this
puts
smart
himself
thing.
In danger.
He calls child services, and these cops are dumb, man. In the beginning, there's this scene where this van
it was used in a robbery.
And the cops just leave. They're like,
oh, okay. Like, hey, just you know, stay inside and let us know if you see anything suspicious. Like, oh, what about the van that was used in a robbery that's in my driveway? Do you want to take care of this? Like, yeah. I would not be letting the cops leave without that van leaving. Like, oh, and they just walked away. Like, you know, they're going to come back for their shit.
Yeah, it's nuts. So, well, there you go. People under the stairs. I think this is.
I like the kids under the stairs, but who were they?
We don't know. We never know.
Because I don't even know who the girl is. Like, are they?
They were all kidnapped by these. Yeah, kidnapped. They were on the, you know, at some point throughout, you know, and then they turned them into cannibals. And
but I would have thought that they would have wanted to kidnap Little Fool when he showed up in the Cub Scout. That was another thing. Well,
because they were racist
in the Cub Scout outfit, and I just got done being a Cub Scout leader for a year for the Bear Troop, and he was wearing the Bear Troop suit. I was like, oh man, here we go. This is perfect. So,
all right, well, it makes sense.
Hero for me. I loved it.
I'm still going with sidekick.
It's not a very good movie.
It's not, and I'm going with the sidekick. And my sidekick might be because, again, I have a love for Wes Craven. I have some of his novels, even. You know, Jenny got them from me for Christmas a long time ago and stuff like that. And you know, you always think of him, Carpenter, and all these guys as these horror maestros, but really they're not. You know, it's like he did some horror movies that weren't really good. No, I have a love for him. But all he really did, you know, his main claim is still Nightmare on Elm Street, the first Nightmare on Elm Street. We've talked about Wes Craven's New Nightmare, not great. You know, he got Scream, right? And I think that was great for him, but it was also written by Kevin Williamson at the time. That Wes wasn't writing movies like that. You know what I mean? Like Wes didn't have that kind of structure. And that is a love letter to horror films. And even watching Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which I still enjoy, and I enjoy for its pieces and what it means to him. But again, I there's things about it that I don't like.
Yeah.
And you can tell that Wes does not love people who love horror movies. But then you go to, you know what I mean? Like then you go to Scream, and it's like, you know, it's hard. It's hard for me to kind of differentiate because he's done a lot of these movies where I'm like, what are you thinking? Like, what are you doing? And you know, when we reviewed his Swamp Thing, not great. You know, it,
It wasn't great, but
Hills Have Eyes.
I'll tell you this.
Not, you know,
I'll tell you, Hills Have Eyes is pretty good. I'll tell you this. Look, you have to bump it up to a high sidekick based on the poster alone. Iconic poster, great poster. Poster, because that's what steals your imagination first thing. You see that poster in the video store, you're like, I need to see this. What is this?
I'll give it to you there. So okay, you know what, Steve, because of the poster, because I still have a soft spot for Wes.
There you go.
I'll go high sidekick. I'll give it to you. I do think it's something, you know, if you haven't watched it, you should watch it. I think it's.
Oh yeah, I think it's classic.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right. Well, that's it for tonight. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Let us know what you think of the people under the stairs or the people use the stairs, as Steve texted me that earlier this week. So that's it for tonight. This is Alil.
And this is Steve. Until tomorrow night, everybody, keep it creepy.